Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of June. I was able to complete 10 books in the month of June. I did also have one DNF. I participated and hosted the Suns Out Books Out readathon with some friends. And so some of these books are from that. And I also read quite a few romance this month, but without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the books that I read. I'm actually gonna start out with the last book that I read because it's the biggest and it's gonna go at the bottom of my pile over here. So this one is The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. So most of you will probably know that Sally Hepworth is my current favorite author. And this will be my 5th book by her, I believe. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, my 5th book by her. And I have had a 5-star streak with this author since day one. And this one I think is going to be a 4, which is still a really high rating. It's still like, I really enjoyed it, but it's sad and bittersweet for me because I'm like, I wanted them all to be 5 stars, but this one was not. And I'm still kind of processing my thoughts on this book, what I think about it, why it wasn't a 5-star. I think the biggest part of why it wasn't a 5-star is because I didn't connect with the characters as much as I have in her previous books. I found the characters to be really unlikable, and at the end, even though things kind of smoothed over, it wasn't like a happy ending. And I'm not saying it's a happy ending in all of her other books either, but I don't know, like I just didn't really find much hope in this book, and so I think I really wanted a little bit more of that. But if you don't know what this is about, it is about our main characters, Gabe and Pippa, and they live at this cliffside in Australia that is very well known for being a spot where people come to commit suicide. So just know that going in, if that is a trigger for you, this does deal with that and mental health pretty heavily, or mental health illnesses pretty heavily. And so just know that going in, but these people come to end their lives, and Gabe has been successful for the past 7 years in keeping them from jumping off the edge. However, this one woman comes up one day and things seem a little bit different, and Gabe is not able to save her from going over the edge. And so you're trying to figure out the whole time, did Gabe know this woman? Did he push her? Did she fall? Did she jump? What happened here? Because it seems like it was just a little bit of a different story this time. This is a very dark story, but I will say the pacing of her work is still the same. It's very fast paced. I flew through this in like 2 days. I really did enjoy it, and I was always wondering what was going to happen next, but it was dark, and the mental health was dark, and the like suicide topic was dark, and it does not tread lightly. Like Sally always goes there, so just know that going into this. There were like 2 things at the end. There was like a reveal and then kind of a twist that one of them made me audibly gasp. So obviously this was still a good book, but I just didn't love the subject matter, so I think that's why I had to give this one a 4. The next book I had is a graphic novel. This one is Sea Sirens, A Trot and Cat and Bill Adventure by Amy Chu and Janet K. Lee. I was reading this one based on the recommendation of Zoe from Zoe Delaney. She actually read this for the Let's Get Graphic readathon earlier this year. And so I wanted to pick this one up. I don't love the art style in this one. It's a little bit more hard lines, and I like a little bit softer of lines, I guess, in my illustrations, but I did enjoy this story. It follows Trot and Cat and Bill, who is this cat here, as they go on this undersea adventure. I don't really want to say more than that because it is a short graphic novel and it doesn't take much to tell you what happened in the story. So just know that this was a good one. I would recommend it. It just wasn't a favorite for me, so it got a 3. The next graphic novel that I read is Surfside Girls, The Secret of Danger Point by Kim Dwinnell. I also really enjoyed this one, and the art style in this one I really loved. I like the color palette and the illustration style, and I also thought the story was really sweet. This is kind of like a little bit paranormal of a mystery set on the coast. There are surfer girls. It's a very summery vibes. I gave this one a 3-star as well. It is more of like a high 3, maybe like a 3.5. So I would recommend this one also if you're looking for a good summery graphic novel. The next graphic novel that I read was Shark Summer by Ira Marks. I really enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I was going to. I didn't really have a lot of expectations going into this one. I just knew that I wanted to check it out and see what I thought. It follows these kids who are trying to win a film competition. I do think this is YA also. I think that it'd probably be safe for middle grade too, but I think it's YA. But these kids are trying to win this film competition, and they are looking into this mystery of this phantom shark. I really liked this one. It explores a lot of like stuff in the film industry. It also explores friendships and different things like that. So I don't know, I really enjoyed this one. I ended up giving it 4 stars. And the last graphic novel that I read is Song of the Sea by Samuel. This is adapted by Samuel Satin, but it's based on the film by Tom Moore. I have not seen this film, but I bet it's amazing because the graphic novel was. I gave this one 5 stars, and it follows our main characters, Ben and Saoirse, I think is how you say it. I always forget how to say that name, but this is an Irish folklore-based story, and it revolves around selkies. It is a very magical book, super sweet story, lovely illustrations, and I thought this was incredible. I probably will watch the movie someday. Right now, it costs money everywhere you can watch it. It's like $4 to rent, but I thought this was a really good one. So if you're looking for a cute, summery graphic novel, definitely check this one out. Moving on to my romance reads. My favorite read of the month, I think. Let me make sure. Yeah. My favorite read of the month, and probably my favorite book that I've read this year so far, is The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. In case you can't tell by the tabs, I really enjoyed this one. I actually buddy read this with my friend Gwen, and she also really enjoyed it. This I gave 5 stars. Oh, and I also had my friend Elizabeth's copy when I was originally reading this. So my copy has tabs, but this was done afterwards. I tabbed Elizabeth's copy, which she had already read and tabbed, and I sent it back to her. And that was just such a fun way to make a memory with a bookish friend and have a book that you share, and then now that's like a keepsake she'll get to have. So I definitely want to do that again in the future with a book that I can keep that has my annotations and tabs as well as a friend. So this was a very special read all the way around, and again, this is probably a new favorite author for me as well as my favorite book of the year so far. This is a clean romance story that centers around our main characters, Lucy and Cooper. And Lucy is Drew's sister, and Cooper is Drew's best friend. So this is a brother's best friend romance, and I feel like I really like those. That's not something I would have ever guessed that I would like. But I also read Across Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh last December, and that was the same type of romance. But it's also like, I don't know, it's just so cute. It almost feels like Friends to Lovers, even though it's not really. But it was just really, really good. I love the banter in this. I laughed so much in this book. Every tab in here, I think it's the orange tab. Yeah, so I don't know that you can really see it, but every orange tab that I have is something that I laughed out loud at or that I thought was really funny. The red tabs are the ones that I like swooned at, or I love that part, and the purple tabs are like the relatable ones. So I feel like I have a pretty good mix of each of these. I thought this was really, really well done, and again, I just love the story. I highlighted so much in here. There were some pages that I felt like, I mean, look at how much I wrote in that, or I highlighted. There was just so many things to love. So I highly recommend if you were looking for like a clean, closed-door romance that has some good banter. Some people say that this feels insta-lovey. It might to you, but just know that my love story felt very similar to this in the span of time that like I got to know my now husband, who I've been married to for 10 years, and like how quickly we got engaged and got married. Like, this does not feel very insta-lovey to me because there was a lot of pining. This was not a immediately get into a relationship type of story because they were both trying to be respectful of Drew, the best friend, and the brother. And so, I don't know, I just thought this was so good. I want to say all the things about it, but I'm also at a loss for words. I just think that this type of quirky writing style is my favorite. I really related with the main character as well. She is a single mom, so this does have the single mom trope. I'm not a mom, so I can't relate on that level, but in every other level, I feel like I was so similar to her, so I love that so much. I cannot wait to pick up more from Sarah Adams. The next romance that I read was not as great. It was a dud. That is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is going to be my last trek with Emily Henry. The first book that I read by her was Beach Read, and I gave it 4 stars upon initial read, but later on dropped it down to a 3 because it was just not memorable for me. I don't think that Emily Henry is the romance author for me, and I think that's okay. She does write a little bit more smut in her books and a little bit more like extra. A lot of people talk about her banter, but I really don't find myself laughing. Like, I found myself laughing my butt off in the Off Limits Rule. But in this, I think I laughed at like the Mike Wazowski thing, if you know what I'm talking about. I think I laughed at that, and then I thought it was really sweet how Alex took care of Poppy when she was sick. But other than that, like, for this book specifically, did not see any chemistry between the characters. I thought that it was like they had a very toxic, obsessive relationship with each other, and it was not healthy at all. I don't feel like they were meant to be together. I don't feel like they should have been together. I didn't like each character individually or as a couple. I didn't really care for all the vacations that they took together, and the one vacation that they were on in present day was so hot and claustrophobic that I thought I was going to have a heat stroke reading this book. Like, I just did not enjoy my time reading it. I did buddy read this with my friend Yvette, who actually really loved it. So this is a book that I think a lot of people will enjoy, and obviously a lot of people love Emily Henry. I just don't think for me personally she is my favorite author or an author that I enjoy reading as much. I don't remember if I said, but I gave that one 2 stars. And then this next one I also buddy read with my friend Yvette, and I gave it 5 stars. So this is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I feel like most people generally know about this one. It is a city boy, like small town romance with a city boy and a country boy and a city girl. There's also a little goat and PJs and some other really cute farm animals with cute names running around, like Kevin Bacon the pig, who's the town mascot, all that fun stuff. This is a really cute story. I don't like how it started because it kind of starts with a one night stand / booty call, and I don't love stories like that. I like stories where you get to know somebody, you pine a little bit, and then you develop a relationship, or like friends to lovers or second chance romance. Those are kind of my stories. This one was, I don't know, it was just a little bit different at first. I wasn't sold at first, but I did know that I loved the main character, Daniel Grant. And then Alexis was also great too, but Alexis got on my nerves a lot because she took too long to make decisions. But I get why she took so long, but I just still didn't like it, if that makes sense. But Daniel is the bee's knees. Like, Daniel is a swoon-worthy character, and even though I didn't really love how their relationship started out, I did end up loving where it went and the end of the story and the lessons that were learned. So I do think this is well worth the read, well worth the hype. I will pick up the second book in the series, Yours Truly, but I don't know if I'll read a lot more Abby Jimenez. I don't think she's going to be a favorite author, but I do like her much more than Emily Henry, so that's saying something. So if it's like an Abby versus Emily kind of thing for me, it's going to be Abby all the way. I have 3 more books to talk about. One of them was the DNF, and that is coming soon. But next, I read Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle Monaghan. I buddy read this with my friend Jordan, whom I'm not sure if she's even finished this one yet, so it's a very loose buddy read. But we've both had a lot going on, so no worries at all about that. I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. This is a fairly new release, just came out last month. I was really excited about it because it had all of the taglines for everything I love. Friends to lovers, second chance romance, nostalgia, summer vibes, like takes place over multiple summers. Unfortunately, this just did not hit it for me. I gave this one 3 stars or 3.5. I can't really remember. I think I gave it 3.5 at the end of it, but I was honestly pretty bored for the most part of this book, and I didn't really sense the romance between the 2 main characters. It kind of went back and forth at the beginning between their childhood, when they became friends, first met, fell in love, to the present timeline, but I just felt like it was more of a telling than a showing of what actually happened. And this is a shorter book, and I do believe that that could be like an issue with it, but I don't know. I feel like it is possible to show a romance in a short book because I like shorter romances, but this one just didn't do it fully for me. But at the end, I did like it a little bit better when it was in the present timeline, which is why I bumped my rating. I think it was a 2 originally, and I bumped it to a 3 or 3.5 because the second half, or the second, like maybe the last third of the book, was a lot better for me, so I did bump it up. I did like Wyatt, the main character, or the main guy. You didn't really see a lot of him until the end, but I don't know. I just feel like this could have been a little bit more, so unfortunately it was a letdown for me, but I still think it's good, and I know a lot of people really enjoy it, so check it out if it sounds interesting to you. And the book that I DNF'd was actually the Suns Out Books Out group read, and that is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I've not had the best of luck with Suns Out Books Out the past 2 years with the group reads that we've chosen. Last year it was The Counselors, and I DNF'd that one. I did get, I think, a little further in that one than I did this one, but overall, I don't think that YA is my favorite. I do have some YA books that I really like, but overall, like, generally, I don't like them. There are some exceptions. I like the Summer I Turned Pretty series. I like some, like, gothic fantasy, horror, YA. I do like the Selection series. I'm trying to look at my shelves to see, like, YA. 10 Blind Dates and Dash and Lily's Book of Dares. Those are a couple Christmas ones. So I have enjoyed some, but there are some romances, and this honestly felt more like a contemporary young adult, I just don't really like, and I was really bored. I got to like 126 pages into this one, so about this far. I made it this far in this book. I don't know if you can see that. But I just wasn't enjoying it. I made it like a third of the way through and I was like, you know what? I would rather read something else. And so I did. So this was a very huge disappointment for me. I don't think it's a bad book. I don't think it was doing anything wrong. It just wasn't the book for me. I found it really boring, and the family is basically, so it's supposed to explore grief. The main character's sister passed away a couple years ago, or like almost a couple years ago, and they haven't been back to the summer spot since her sister passed. I think she died in a drunk driving accident. And so she comes back, like her and her family come back because there's a wedding that's going to take place. And they end up playing this big game of assassin, which is basically a big water gun fight over a series of days where everybody has a target and you have to like shoot them with a water gun to eliminate them to the last person standing. And I just really didn't care for like, it was more of a contemporary focused on like all the family members in this game. And yeah, there's a romance, but like 126 pages in, it was still just like meh. So I don't know, I just wasn't into this one. I wasn't enjoying it. I just thought it was okay. If I would have finished it, I probably would have given it like a 2 or a 3, so I just didn't feel like it was worth finishing. And the last book that I read was Murder on Cape Cod by Maddie Day. This is a cozy mystery. It is the first book in the Cozy Capers book group mystery, and it follows our main character. Her name is Mackenzie or Mac Almeida, and she owns a bicycle shop on the shore or at the coast, like on Cape Cod. This is a cute, cozy little town. They have a bike shop, they have a taffy shop, they have a book shop, they have all these cute little things. And this is a very interesting story about her finding this dead body outside of her bike shop, and obviously she's the sleuth who's trying to figure this out. I did think this was a really good story. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I'm not sure if this is one I'll continue on in the series with. I'm pretty picky because there's so many cozy mystery series out there, and there's so many that have like a lot of books in the series, and I'm not a huge series girl, so I don't want to like add a lot to my list. So I read a lot of like firsts in cozy mysteries, so I don't know that I'm going to continue on with this one, but I'm so glad that I read the first one. I did really enjoy it. I just don't think it's one that I want to read more in this setting, but I would highly recommend this if you like cozy mysteries and coastal settings. This was a really well written one. I also listened to the audiobook, and I thought that was really well done also. And there you have it. That is all of the books that I read in the month of June. You'll have to let me know if you also read any of these books or what you thought about them. Let me know what your favorite book was that you read in June. Maybe I need to add it to my list. Like I said, my favorite was The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams, so you can let me know that. Or if you don't know what else to comment, or you don't have anything else to say but you want to leave a comment just to help support my channel or just show me some love, you can leave a heart emoji, any heart emoji, the hands heart emoji, or like any color heart your heart desires. You can leave that down below. But as always, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, friends.